beautiful people. So good to see you here today. Oh my God, I have this training about launches. I'm so fired up about it. And I am here live streaming from a different place. My house here in Marina del Rey. I don't know if you guys know, but I moved here and it's fucking magical. I'm like, why not do this live stream from here? So enjoy the view while we talk about how to create six-figure launches. Today, we're gonna talk about the 4 upgrades that you need as a coach in order to have six-figure launches and get over launch PTSD. Give me a 1 in the comments if you have ever launched anything before, or if you haven't ever launched a program or anything, you haven't gone through a launch, give me a 2 in the comments. And hello everyone who's joining. Good to see you, Pao. Good to see you, Santo Domingo. So good to see you all here. So you guys, I was talking to my clients. And by the way, I'm noticing that the Instagram camera is way more delicious than the Facebook camera. So if you're on Facebook and you watch the Instagram one, it looks a little more colorful. Okay, so Patricia says 1. There's one more person who's saying 1. Okay, so you have launched things in the past. Let me bring up the Facebook comments here because I want to have you all here. Okay, so somebody says 1 and you flop miserably. Perfect. This is really going to help you for your next launch. So I was talking to my clients and they were telling me that they're having $100,000 launches. Another one right now is in the middle of her launch. She's already at $50,000 and this is her first ever launch of a group program. And so I just want you all to know that it is so possible for you to have six-figure launches. And I looked at the patterns of my past clients, my current clients. What are they doing? What am I doing to have multiple six-figure launches? I've done probably like 12 launches at this time. Every single one except for the first one was a six-figure or multi-six-figure launch, all the way down up to $700,000 for a launch. And so I just want you to know what I'm going to tell you is not fluff. It's not like theory. This is like very practical things. I'm doing it. My clients are doing it. So we're going to dive in. If you have a notebook, bring it out because it's going to be literally jam-packed. So the reason why this is so important is because you guys are putting so much effort into your launches, and I want to make sure your effort pays off. The thing that makes launches hard and it makes people feel like they don't work is because we put so much pressure on ourselves, or we make launches like our break or make moment, right? Like give me a 3 in the comments if you notice that you have put so much pressure on yourself or on the launch to give you the revenue, to prove that you're doing it right, to prove that you're doing it like you should. Like, okay, great, yes, like now I'm gonna do another launch because I was successful in this launch. Like notice that there's just so much pressure. Thanks, Brad. Notice that there's just so much pressure that we put on ourselves, and that is what creates the whole funkiness energetically and practically. I want you to really hear me out when I say this. There is no such thing as an unsuccessful launch. The only unsuccessful launch is the one that you didn't execute on. Literally, the only unsuccessful launch is just the one that you decided that maybe you shouldn't be doing because it's too hard or because you've done it before and it didn't work. And really, the only thing you need to do is that I recommend that you do is consistency with these 4 things that I'm going to tell you, and you are going to completely shift your world around launches. Like my clients come to me hating even the word launching, and when they apply these upgrades, literally, it just makes it feel like a completely different experience. So, who's ready for the 4 upgrades? Give me a me in the comments and we can get started. I have lots of wisdom to share, and we have 30 minutes, so let's go. Give me a 3 in the give me a me in the comments if you're ready for all of the upgrades. Hi, Disha, how are you? Let me see who's here on Facebook. I'm gonna close some windows here. Hi, Angie. Amazing. Okay, perfect. Hi, Linda. Oh my God, so good to see you here. All right, my love. So there are 4 different stages in your launches, okay? There are 4 different stages that I want you to really understand. So the first stage is before you launch, okay? This is before you actually go into launch mode. This is when you're planning your launch. The second stage is when you're warming up your audience for your launch. The third stage is when you are launching with a conversion event, when you do some kind of launch, 5-day challenge, a 1-day event, a webinar, whatever that looks like a party. It's kind of like a moment where people really get to feel your energy, where you get to share value, and where you get to make an offer. It's kind of like when you open the doors through a conversion event, a 1-day thing, 2-day thing, one live stream thing it could be, right? And then the final stage is when you are selling. That part when you've done your event, now you get to sell. So there are things that people do in these 4 stages that either guarantee their results or guarantee that they are gonna feel this sense of like they're burying themselves in a hole and now they have to excavate themselves out of the hole to launch again. That feeling gives you exhaustion. And so I wanna give you all the upgrades in these areas so that you feel a lot more ease in the way that you execute. Cool? So let's start with what happens before your launch, okay? People love winging launches, and this is why it feels so intense on your nervous system. When you're scrapping everything together and when you have a thought, you're like, let me launch this thing and let me just throw it out there. What do you think that's gonna do to your nervous system? Just give me something in the comments. What do you think that scrapping everything together, how do you think that's gonna land for your nervous system? Tell me in the comments. I wanna hear. What do you think is gonna happen? Hi, Maria. How are you, my love? Hi, Latoya. Good to see you here. Okay, so tell me in the comments, what do you think is gonna happen? Okay, so uncomfortable, right? That's gonna be a shock. You're so right, Angie. It's gonna feel like a shock to your system, and it's not chaos, exactly. It's not gonna feel like something that your nervous system is gonna feel open to do again. So first things first, before you launch, I recommend that you plan ahead of time so that you can relax in your plan. People are so afraid of planning because they think it's rigid. What I believe is that a plan gives you spaciousness and it gives you time for relaxation. Like I take vacations during my launches because I know what's gonna happen. I know what are the things that we are doing. And so if you don't have a plan for launching, you don't have a method, I want you to know that you can apply for the Magnetize and Monetize Mastermind because I created something, the Magnetic Launch Formula. It's one of the modules, is one masterclass where I break down my process for launching that has helped me create multiple 6-figure launches and my clients. And it literally helps you prepare, it helps you execute, and it helps you coach yourself through your launch so that you have everything that you need. And then you have me in your corner, literally helping you with every one of the stages. So you don't need to scrap everything and put it together. That actually is gonna cause your nervous system to put pressure on it to work because you kind of don't wanna do that again. You don't wanna put yourself through that process again, right? Hey Latoya, so good to see you. Let me just get my water. You guys, I'm trusting that this glass is not gonna spill all over my brand new couch, so pray with me. So before your launch, you wanna plan. What do you wanna plan? You wanna plan how are you gonna warm up your audience, right? Like how are you gonna get into conversation with your audience? What kind of fun thing do you wanna do for a conversion event? Like people feel like this has to be so dreadful and so difficult, but really what lights you up? So for me, I love multi-day experiences because it gives me spaciousness to do this kind of thing that I'm doing here, but over multiple days. Some people don't like that. Some people don't like 5-day challenges. I love 5-day challenges or 4-day challenges or 3-day challenges of multi-day immersions because it allows you to connect with your people, right? I don't just let copy or reels do the selling. Like I have way too much depth and wisdom to share that like a reel is not gonna cut it. A post is not gonna cut it, right? I wanna create an environment where I can create intimacy and connection with my people. And so give yourself the space to prepare to think about what that could be, okay? And then of course, planning, when are you gonna sell? What's gonna be your sales period? And think about the topics that your clients are gonna need in order to have that certainty and safety in order to buy, in order to get on the phone with you, in order to be a yes, address objections ahead of time. Think about all these things. We're gonna talk about this in the later stages. But step number 1, are you really being intentional about setting yourself up for success and planning? What are you gonna do at each one of these stages? And again, if you don't know how to do that, I invite you to apply to the Magnetize and Monetize Mastermind, because that is something that I love helping my clients with, really understanding each one of those stages so that they can be supported through it all. Okay, perfect. Love it, love it, love it. Good to see all the comments. Okay, now stage number 2, right? Stage number 2 is warming up your people. Warming up people for the launch. So what does this mean? Look, you might be in your head about your launch. You might be thinking a lot about this launch and how, and this program that you've created. Maybe you've launched it before. Everything that I'm going to be telling you in this live stream works, whether you've done one launch, you've done 10 launches, whether you hit your first 6-figure launch or your $500,000 launch. Everything that I'm giving you applies to give you an upgrade for the next level, okay? So in your warming up of your audience, this is what a lot of people don't do. They just have an idea, then maybe like think about it a lot, work on the landing page, on the copy, and they think a lot about it, but they're not in communication with their audience, and they're not asking provocative questions to engage, to really create that first level of intimacy, to create curiosity about what you're about to sell. And so the impact of that is that you probably have experienced this. You come out with your thing, you're like, doors are open for this, and then there's like crickets. Nobody has heard about it, nobody knows about it. They're just like, oh, interesting, and they just keep scrolling. That's a symptom of a deeper root cause, which is you haven't really warmed up your people. So how can you warm up your people? Ask questions before your launch event that are provocative. Start conversations with your audience that get them to talk about what you are about to launch. Ask questions that just create engagement, that create a conversation, because that's gonna give you energy and inspiration and creates a line of communication with people on the internet. And that's what you wanna do. So that by the time that you're gonna promote maybe your live stream or your conversion event, whatever it is, there are people who are already raising their hand and saying like, I'm into that. Like, I'm curious about that. I like that topic, right? Give me a 4 in the comments. I think at this point we're at 4. Give me a 4 in the comments if you have thought about that. Warming up your audience instead of warming up your ideas and not actually like expressing them to the internet, to their people, to your email list. There's such a huge gap between us thinking about it and then executing on it. Like literally, we think that everybody knows about the launch. Really, people have no idea. It's just you in your brain, okay? So think about it. What can you do in order to warm up people to be in the conversation of what you're about to talk about in your conversion event or your actual offer? All right. And by the way, this is a process. Again, this is like literally one of the steps of what I teach. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about, just send me a message send me a message with the word magnetic launch formula, and then I can give you some extra tips so that to clarify any of this, what I'm saying. And if it feels good, if you want to really master your launches, I got you. Okay. Once you have planned, you're warming up your audience, what happens? A lot of people do conversion events, right? Which is what we were talking about. So this can be as simple as a live stream where you teach something, where you're addressing a question, a topic that's very top of mind for people. You are creating a gap, and then you're presenting your solution. And so what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is don't overteach in your live streams, in your 5-day challenges, in your webinars. Master classes. The mistake that I see people make, and when I see clients that do amazing launches and clients who have amazing results and doesn't match the results that they wanted, is that they overteach. And give me a me in the comments if you have ever thought, oh my God, I just gave so much value, but like nobody replied. I'm so confused. Nobody is applying. Nobody is booking calls. Like, what the fuck is happening? Right? Like, you thought you gave everything, you thought you gave all the value, you basically did. And so you were over teaching, and what that does is it creates a sense of false satisfaction with your audience. Meaning you're kind of giving them too much, and so they feel like, okay, I think I'm gonna go and implement this on my own. That was great, thank you so much, goodbye, right? So why does that happen? It happens because you're teaching the how, you're getting into the nitty-gritty too much, which is not a problem. Like when I do Facebook Lives, when I do 5-day challenges, which by the way, I am about to host an amazing intimate 4-day experience soon, so stay tuned for that. And if you've ever been to any of my events, you know that I over deliver. Like I over deliver value, like it feels like a paid course. But one thing that I make sure I do is I create a gap. I create a gap by helping people understand that there is more here. There's a problem that needs to be solved and I have a solution for it, right? I help people see that you can go and do this on your own, and what is gonna happen is this. So if we work together, you are going to avoid all of this possible mistakes that you might make on your own, and here's a way that I can support you through it, right? Because there's no way that you can teach everything on a 5-day challenge. There's no way that you can teach everything on a masterclass, and actually is a disservice to your people if you try, because you and I know that it requires coaching, it requires guidance, it requires depth. Even if you're selling, let's say, an online course, right? You can't teach everything in a 3-day period. Like they need all the videos if you have an online course. They need all the details. And so it's so important that you learn how to create that gap for people to feel satisfied with trusting you, trusting the offer, and trusting the process, but also understand that there is more for them to learn. Does that make sense? Angie says, give me a yes in the comments if you were getting that. If you're thinking, holy shit, I have actually probably been over teaching in my live streams. Or holy shit, I have been over teaching in my content. I have been giving basically too much information that is overstimulating people and making them not want to buy right away. Hi, Diana. How are you? So good to see you. Amazing. Okay, let me scroll here. Amazing. Okay. Let me just see what else I've got. Angie says, yes, yes, yes. Okay, so one thing that I want to offer for your launch event is that you want to make sure that you're promoting it as if you were selling your offer. A lot of people undersell their event, meaning they kind of share a little bit about it and then they're like, okay, here it is. But I want you to feel like you're almost annoying people. Like it feels like you're annoying yourself. You're like, oh my God, am I really promoting this much? People already know about this. I guarantee that only 5% of your audience at most is aware that you have a 5-day challenge or a webinar or anything like coming up, literally. So the more that you lean in on selling this free thing as if it was paid, the more people are actually gonna come. So it's overselling instead of underselling, like promote it as if it was a paid thing. Get behind it as if it was a paid thing. Don't shy away from it because that's literally gonna show up in your results, okay? And the last mistake that I see, this is so good. So when I ask people, what is it that inspires them to buy the Magnetize and Monetize Mastermind, right? Every client in our coaching, like on the first few calls, every single one of them, they tell me your energy, how you show up, your confidence. Like, yes, everything you said was amazing, but your energy is what really got me to feel safe in order to buy. And so what is it that I see that I do and some of my clients do versus other people that I see that are missing in their conversion events or in their live streams is that you're not owning yourself as the authority. You are going with this energy, you might be going with this energy of like, hey, yeah, I know these things. I want to teach you about this. And, I have an offer, but you don't even stay with the offer. You're so nervous about talking about the offer that like, you're like, I have this offer and is this much? So if you want to book a call, like, let me know. And then you just leave, right? Because it feels like you're nervous. It feels like you feel nervous to sell. It makes sense. It's a live stream, it's a video, whatever it is. Or it's a post that is this long and then the offer is just down here. You know what I mean? Like it's just you're not spending enough time owning your authority and walking people through the process of look, I know that here's where you want to go, and I understand that here's where you're at, and here's a pathway in order to get to that desired result. Here's what we're going to do. First, this is what we're going to do, and make it simple to understand, because if you're using language that people don't understand, they are literally going to be like, I don't think I need that. I think that that's like too much for what I need, or not the solution that I need. So this is also why I want to invite you to apply to the Magnetize and Monetize Mastermind, because that's exactly what I help you with. I help you simplify the way that you communicate the value of what you do so that people understand exactly what you mean, so that your expertise doesn't feel like it's confusing them, that it actually kind of like gets translated into their ears as language that they understand. This is like the expert syndrome. I'm sure you have heard about it. Everybody talks about it. But really simply, it's just using words that people don't understand. And if you ever are in question around why you're not attracting more clients, there's only two factors that you need to audit. A, the words that you're using to communicate the value of what you do. What are you saying? How clear are you being? Or two, what energy are you in? Meaning, what is the combination of thoughts and feelings that are creating the space for you to feel available to receive clients? What are your thoughts about you? What are the feelings that you have about you? What are the thoughts you have about your clients? What are the thoughts you have about your process and about your offer? All of that creates an energetic state that literally shows up in the way that people perceive you. And so if if you ever don't have the clients that you want, or the number of clients that you want, or the caliber, these are the only two things that I want to invite you to audit, okay? Okay, where was I? I was not owning your authority. So here's what I want you to think about when you do a live stream, when you do a 5-day challenge, when you do anything, when you are selling, when you're communicating your message, whatever it is that you're doing. You don't have to sound like me. You don't have to be like me. You don't have to be my energy. First of all, you just get to be you. You don't need to be like hypey. You don't need to be like anything that you see other people do. All you want to ground yourself into is the question, how would my future self, who already had a sold out launch, how would she show up right now? And just think about that. Think about her thoughts, think about her feelings, think about her actions, think about how she or he got to that 6-figure launch, or that 50K launch, whatever you're aiming for, or that $500,000 launch, right? What is your future self doing? What is she thinking, feeling, and doing? And how would she show up? That is going to give you the reframe for you to show up in your authority, because I bet your future self is not like, yeah, I have this program, it's cool, if you're curious, just like let me know, and then like end the live stream. You would stay with your offer for as long as it is. You would honor it. You would take your time to talk about the details, to not talk about the details in a way where you're overly teaching, because you lose people when you over give too many details, but when you are clear on the process that you're gonna take them through and how they're gonna feel throughout and after. Cool? Cool. All right. And stage number 4 is selling. This is, you guys, I wouldn't say the most important part, because every part that I gave you, those 4 steps are so important. But selling is where people really feel like I feel like people drop the ball on that. And I have seen clients go through the planning maybe even, or they kind of like, some people go up to the launch event and they get so like hyped about it, and then they do it and they're like, okay, I hope all the sales come. They're like, okay, sales will just come, right? And listen, once you finish your conversion event, it's just where the party begins. It's where the selling begins. Is where this is just the beginning, right? So I'm going to give you some upgrades energetically and practically. I'll tell you about my first launch. I literally quit my first ever launch. Even before I launched the Magnetize and Monetize Mastermind, I launched this thing called the Soulful Marketing Academy. And it was at the time $2,500. It was my first ever product. It was a group program. And you guys, I had like I think I had one person buy. I was so demotivated. I was like, oh, well, obviously people don't care about this. And I still had like 2 weeks of selling. I had only been selling for about a week and a half. And I just gave up. I just didn't sell anymore. I just didn't send the emails that I had thought about, that I had written. I just fully gave up on the launch. And that is what I see a lot of people do. There is, you start the launch, you get some applications, right? Some come through, lots come through, whatever in the beginning. And then there's the launch dip. And that is what our brains literally experience as fucking death. It's like, oh my God, this is like, people are rejecting me. They don't like it. I failed. And so you give up. And I just want you to know that the launch dip is literally so normal. It happens to everybody, whether you have a 4-week sales period or a 2-week sales period or a 1-week sales period. There's always a period in the middle where there's gonna be a gap. And so the important thing is that you sell with your whole heart all the way through the end, and that you hold belief all the way through the end. Now, this doesn't mean, this is an important thing that I want you to listen and pay attention to. This doesn't mean that you have to be hyped up the whole time and feeling connected to source and the universe and like all the abundance, and that you can't have a negative thought and that you can not feel any negative emotion because you're gonna energetically fuck it all up. No, none of that is required. Like, you don't have to feel perfect feelings in order to have a sold out launch. You can have a lot of negative emotion, you can have a lot of whatever it is that you feel, and still have an amazing launch, because the feeling of hype is actually not sustainable. Like, hype burns you out. I mean, think about it. If you are always in a state of excitement and hype, your body, your nervous system needs to calm down at some point. That's not a problem, right? It's normal that you're excited and that you hype yourself up for like some time. But if you really think that that's the energy, or if you're like, oh my God, I'm not hyped. Like, I had a client that told me this recently. I've lost the hype throughout my launch. And so like, I feel like I'm not gonna sell out. I feel disconnected. I don't wanna do it because I don't feel this level of excitement. And I told her, well, why is excitement required in order to sell? You don't need excitement in order to sell. So what would be a more sustainable feeling? And I want you guys to think about that. What would be a more sustainable feeling for you to have throughout the launch, so that you don't just go on these spikes of hype or excitement or expectation, but you actually just stay consistent throughout, like this and not like this, right? So what I offered her is that the feeling of groundedness and feeling of service is way more sustainable, because you're not gonna feel hypey and excitement and all of that at all times. You are gonna feel like, okay, today I just feel like I need to, I'm not as hypey, I'm not as excited, I'm feeling a little down, something happened in my life, and believe me, shit's gonna happen in the middle of your launch, it will, it just happens. It's like, launching is a spiritual experience. All your shit gets brought up to your face, and this is why you grow so quickly, and this is why I believe I've grown so much, and I have so much stamina, and I have so much belief in myself and in my offer, because I have consistently just doubled down and showed up for me in that way. I have grown so much, and I have seen all the doubts and all the parts of me that need to come online, and I heal them and I hold them, and then I continue and I move forward. And so a feeling that would be way more sustainable for you is feeling grounded. What if you just chose to feel grounded regardless of what your result was at that point of the launch? What would you say? How would you show up to your launch if you just felt grounded, or if you felt of service? So for me, the feeling of being at service, like when I feel like I'm being of service, like right now I feel of service, I naturally feel like I am giving value, and that feels so good. Like I'm stepping into where I'm meant to be doing, which is supporting people in the growth of their businesses and their life and their evolution. Like, it gives me life. But when I think about my launches, like, oh my God, my launch is not working, and I'm not in a launch right now, but I've done 12 of these. So if I was always putting pressure on, like, it's not working, like, how would I feel? I would feel disappointed, I would feel exhausted. And that is what makes our launches feel unsustainable, that we put so much pressure on ourselves to feel like it should be an upward spiral all the time, like it's always a linear process, and it's not. Allow yourself to be a human while you launch. Hold all the emotions that come up, and from that place just come to a place of peace, of groundedness, and of service. That way you become curious. That's also another feeling that I love. Curiosity has made me so much money, because instead of deciding that the launch is a failure, like my brain says, or your brain might be saying, I want you to imagine that if you just tap into curiosity, like what would be different about the way that you show up for your launch? What would be some creative ideas that you would have for your launch? It would make it literally makes a completely different, it just creates a different strategic plan for you. If something that you didn't work the way you thought, if you step into curiosity, groundedness, and service, you're gonna have ideas. You're gonna have inspired ideas. You're gonna have different ways that you approach problems, okay? All right, my love. So that's the last, I have one last thing that I wanna tell you, but let's do it. We have 1 more minute, okay? So the last thing I wanna tell you is, when you're selling, notice the thoughts you have about your clients. If you have poor thoughts about your clients, that's gonna reflect in the way that you show up for your calls. If you think about them, oh my God, they're not gonna have the money. Oh my God, I don't think they can afford it. Or I don't think I don't think I can afford it is like the main thought that I see people have during their launches. What if they can afford it? Money is like, it gets in the way. And so clean up all the thoughts. I want you to look for, in every person, whether they're in your DMs, whether they are on your sales call, look for the version of them that wants this. Look for the part of them that got on that call with you and who is actually craving the support that you can offer. And speak to that part. Don't speak to the part that is disempowered, that thinks that doesn't have the money. They're there with you for a reason. They want to work with you. So what if you stepped into speaking to the version of them that wants this? That is seeing your clients from a different lens. And that is going to create a different result, because you're not going to be speaking to your clients and giving up on them. You're going to be standing for their vision when you are actually selling. Okay? All right, my love. So if that felt helpful, if you're like, oh my God, I want that, I want support on my launches, I want to clarify my message, I want support thinking about my clients in a different way, I want to have a process that holds me and sustains me, I want to invite you to apply to the Magnetize and Monetize Mastermind. This is the last week where you can get $1,000 off as an early bird. That means that you get it for $10K instead of $11K. And also you get a call with me. You get a call, literally you and I get together and we strategize how you're gonna make your money back as soon as possible. I haven't given this call in like 2 years. And so I wanna offer this amazing bonus because I'm really craving intimacy with the people in my world, the people in my programs. That's been such a huge value for me. And I know for you, you want a coach that really cares about you, that supports you. And I want to be in your corner. I want to be in your corner if you're planning your first launch, your second launch, whatever launch it is. I have people who are applying who literally have had 200K launches and now they want to go to 500. If that's you, Magnetize and Monetize is for you. It doesn't matter where you at in your income level. What matters is that you are really good as a coach, or what you do if I give you 10 clients that you know you can offer them a transformation. And that you want to elevate the quality of clients that you attract. You want to get more grounded in your price or elevate your price. And you want to have a super flowy sales process where that pre-qualifies and pre-motivates people to really become a premium client by the time that they hop on the phone. So I help you elevate the quality of clients that you attract. Then we elevate your offer to make sure that you have a clear process that you guide people through that can help them create results consistently and that you feel really confident in selling. And then I teach you how to write content that is going to attract that caliber of person and grow your audience with those people. And then what happens when somebody raises their hand? What happens when somebody's asking you a question about how much your program is? How do you respond? How do you reply? All of that we teach you inside of the Magnetize and Monetize Mastermind, all the way to how to have a beautiful sales conversation where you feel really capable and equipped to not have to manipulate, not have to pressure, and also not have to avoid conversations where you're holding the vision for your client to step into the next level inside of your offer. So if that feels the kind of support that you want to have, this is the last week to get the early bird, so make sure that you apply. The link is in my bio if you're on Instagram, or if you are on Facebook, let me give you the link here in the comments. Wait, can I comment? I can't comment here. But the link is basically also in my bio on my Facebook profile. Is access.julianagarcia.com/magnetize, or just send me a message. Just send me a message and say me, and I'll send you the details. We can have a conversation about whether this would be the right fit for you. I don't do sales calls. I can chat to you about the program on DMs, and if you really want to talk to somebody, I'm super happy to have you speak to one of my former clients who is amazing at really giving you all the insights, all the details about what the program is about, what you need, everything, and you can make an empowered decision from there. MMM is amazing. It will blow your mind. Yes, thank you so much. All right, my loves, that's what I have for you today. I love you all so much, and I will be back with another training next week. Go ahead and apply this and let me know what happens. I'm so excited for you. All right,